Welcome to the service clinic at Low Country Harley-Davidson. I'm Doc Harley. Today we're going to talk about batteries. I've talked about them in the past, but I really want to talk about battery in comparison. Harley-Davidson versus aftermarket. I'm seeing an uprise in aftermarket batteries, and it might be because location, you just can't get to a dealership, or the expense. Yes, Harley-Davidson battery is more expensive. But let's talk a little bit about the aftermarket battery and fitting it in your motorcycle, because I had an extreme case this week with a Sportster. Sportsters, especially late models, are the hardest bike to put an aftermarket battery in because they put the ground on the inside where you slide the battery in. So if you don't connect it the way Harley-Davidson is connecting it, it's going to come apart, it's going to come loose, or it won't let the battery go all the way in. All right, enough said. Let's compare the two batteries. I've got a Harley-Davidson battery here and an aftermarket battery, and this is the usual way that they're hooked up. I have the usual hookup. Harley-Davidson likes to have it come up and tight. And then you try to do that with an aftermarket battery. You see the spacing that is there, and I'm serious. People will do this. They'll screw as tight as they can and don't have a spacer, so it's just 20% of it's touching, and that's not enough when it comes to the starter. Starter wants a good, strong connection, so you'll start arcing across there like a TIG welder, and we can't have that around gasoline around your motorcycle. So one of the reasons aftermarket batteries aren't as good as Harley's, because Harley designs the connection part to be with the Harley-Davidson wiring, so it matches up. You say, okay, well, I've got an aftermarket battery, I can make that happen, I can just put it sideways. Yes, it's been done, but on some models you can't put the battery in if you relocate this and put it sideways so it's touching. So you got to agree with me. Aftermarket batteries, these are multi-fit batteries. All right, this can fit in a Harley, this can fit in a Honda. There are two different motorcycles in connection and also in durability. Harley-Davidson batteries are made for that vibration, for everything that Harley goes through. A Honda battery, have you seen a Honda and how the gold wing is like, is it running or is it not running? This was not made for the Harley-Davidson. This internal makes a difference, the way they have made these batteries, and the cranking amperage is stronger also. Now, yes, you can buy some aftermarket batteries I've seen out of there that have more cranking amps, but it's the connection and the durability. Yes, you can buy cheaper at the start, but in the long run, this battery is going to serve you longer. Now, if you just can't get a Harley battery and you got to get this, let's concentrate on this connections. Before you buy the battery, open up the box. Look at the bolts and nuts and bolts. Hopefully, it has something like this. This is my favorite, with a little half moon, or it has this. Something that will space out the bolt so it'll be the right direction and the right connection. All right, if you are lucky, you'll get a square bolt that fits in nice and easy. If you're not, 80% of the time, you get the little nut. And if you've ever tried to slide this nut in here and get this started, it's ridiculous. Here's a little added trick. Back in the lead acid days where you had the little drain tube, well, what we would do is cut just a little, about 1/8 of an inch off, and you put this behind the bolt. That holds the bolt still. Then you can put your screw in. Anything to help you out, get this accomplished. But in my opinion, you can't do better than buying what was made for the motorcycle. You can get this, but it's gonna be, you gotta make it work. Make the connection tight and make the connection good, because one, the starter needs all the connection you can, and the charging system needs to return all the voltage it can to the battery. So, just a little advice here from Doc Harley. Think about it before you buy a battery, and if you buy the aftermarket battery, make sure the connections are good and tight. I'm Doc Harley. We'll see you next week.